I tend my garden, or it tends to me, sowing beads of flowers amongst murderous weeds, handfuls of thorns and thistles that seem to never die. In the cool, blessed rain or the harsh, intense heat, they only seem to multiply. I tend my garden, or it tends to me, through breezy mornings when I'm filled with warmth, like steamy fertilizer beds that wrap my stony shoulders in isolated islands of darkness, or smelly smoke lace sheets that are pitched by heavy boulders. I tend my garden, or it tends to be, through blistering afternoons when I am cursing my breath, every hot hello or burnt by, despite scornful blades of fire, when I burn with muggy madness, swatting sweaty sin like flies, drowning me to pour and perspire. I tend my garden, or it tends to me. I thank God. I thank God for the rock in my shoe, for the log laid down in front of my path, the grip between my teeth that I filed, grinding down to become polished, for the fragile balls of gas in my lungs that he blew into like dandelion seeds, the cosmos that he unleashed behind a canopy of starry lids and spherical eyes, for the righteous spark that ignited my heart and the promised truth that I am to surmise. Wherever my feet drag on begrudgingly, or my words fall short of praise and worship, I thank God for the conviction that holds me, for the long dry hours of my temporary torment, the deserted silence of my stubborn, willful mind, and the thorned vines that He cut for me to be free. I thank God for the ripe fruits that I was able to bear, for the rotten ones that fell before they could destroy, the violent storms that shook dead branches down from atop my overburdened, stiff shoulders. I thank God for the bark that He removed from outside, for the crumbling center exposing my worms to beaks, the whistled whisper in my scattered speech, and His image in the water which I am a small drop in. I thank God. Ode to the rabbits in my yard. There, among the weeds and wildflowers, this bundle from their furry nest, 10 rodents' lively balls, now buried in their birthing grave, surrounded by green blades of thick grass, these buttercups, bounties of dandelions, only they lived past the sun's rays, thrived the uncertain, the unrelenting rains, the cats of the street, the cold night, la noche fria, only they, tarnished, leaf-stitched, choir to that coldest night. Only they, light furs curled from their mother's hairs, only their little breath, but fragrant and musky, always blue, tossed into their hole, arms outstretched, like roots in the ground, in the rumbling of the underground dark, like their grieving mother, sweet thumper, a worried, anxious doe, dead in the same hole, promised life in a bountiful garden, once happy as the spring clover in the green turf, once seated, dry raked by the west wind. Now, utterly bone husks remain in the whole yard. Theirs was the only hole left, without purpose or reason. In this tangled garden of life, they are a lonely symbol of decay, among these frail flowers, their tufts and tails, brown and slithery as if they weren't still, a plump joy-filled blade in the wind. The only true mother of them sees, unblemished, unburdened, circling now the lifeless burrow. She is tethered to a sorrowful hollow to the ground, where they will not sprout again. Still she calls out in the lonesome night. A starling's flight. Through a flitter and flutter, a bird starts to mutter. Upon a crooked branch it holds together, like sparkling coals amidst the burning icy air. It drips down to the hard ground bare, to form puddles of colorful petrol, the refined feathers of a flameless soul, reflecting the sight of the flocks of stars at night, whose piercing eyes have cut across the spatial sky. It is the common blight of a starling's flight. The smile of God. The smile of God is like the shimmer in the snow, as solid as the hard rocks below, like bald trees with roots in extraordinary maze, the chattering of chipmunks in their chirping plays, rolling out from ear to ear, the harsh white grin we tend to fear. Yet it fills our red-berry cheeks, our frosted forward-facing beaks, to curl, crinkle at the seams. It is unbearable how bright it gleams. The smile of God is not for the faint of heart, for once it is seen, your own smile will start. Would I love the flowers if they were always in bloom? They would never scent the soil if they couldn't sleep back into their bulbs again. A rainless summer would dissolve my tongue. The ground would be dry and crack if the sun never hid. A wonderfully wet world could drown out the moon. Mountains of monsoon rains would flush out every living thing. There would be no jumping into spring if the winter never wound itself down. Mounds of ice formed where blades of grass once stood. There must be some changes that are good, for the trees would run out of sky if they constantly grew, their branches choking every bird that flew.